So some of you guys may know, I love No Man's Sky, and I played a lot of No Man's Sky, but I haven't played it in quite some time now. I used to make videos on it, not necessarily really frequently, but there's been a couple, and they perform pretty well. Probably some of the best performing videos on the channel, which was cool because I love the game and I like playing it, so I like making videos on it. But that was all on PS4. And that was quite some time ago. The most frequent update that was out when I still played was the Living Ship update, and pretty much I got my Living Ship doing that quest line, and then I kind of stopped playing. I was in the end game. I had already finished all of the major stuff. It was just kind of doing end game stuff, so building farms or trying to construct big projects and things like that. But as some of you may have seen, I put out the video like a month ago. I got my new PC now that can run No Man's Sky pretty well and allows me to stream it and be able to make videos on it. So I'm getting back into it. I started on a fresh save and I thought, why not just stream that entire thing? So anytime I'm playing No Man's Sky on this fresh save, I'm going to be streaming it, and then from that stream I'm going to be making sort of the little tips videos like I used to do, just like starting from fresh, like what I'm doing to try to give myself an advantage, whether it be money or upgrades, whatever it may be. And I know since the Living Ship upgrade, there's been a number of updates. They revamped the whole like procedurally generated characters system. I think they revamped some things with how the planets are generated and the galaxies are generated. There's been a lot of updates essentially. I'm going to be revisiting some of my old tips and tricks things just to see if they still work. And hopefully finding out some new stuff. And yeah, in this video I'm just going to be going through that sort of first stream, talking over it and explaining some of the tips that I have to maybe give some of you new players a little bit of a quicker start. So yeah, enjoy. Right, so very early on, pretty much the first mission that they're going to give you is to find your ship. You've crash landed on this planet essentially. Now I got super lucky here that at the actual sort of distress signal where my ship was, they gave me an S-class thermal protection, which I think you might always get some sort of protection from this. I'm not sure if it's always S-class. I know my friend I was playing with at this time, he was also on his own fresh save, and he got an S-class. It wasn't thermal, I think he got fire or something, but he got an S-class upgrade from his distress beacon as well. So I'm not sure if that's guaranteed, but a little tip here is if you do get an upgrade from it, if you place these upgrades in your inventory next to things that correspond with it, then you actually get a little bit of a bonus. So you see how in the inventory here they sort of highlight next to each other? That's because I put that upgrade next to my life support, or next to my hazard protection. So the hazard protection is just basic. It's what you always have by default. So any extra hazard protection upgrade or modules that you get, if you place them next to each other, then they will highlight, and that goes for all upgrades. So if you get in the future, if you get like a jetpack upgrade, then you place that next to your jetpack in your inventory, and it'll give it even more of a little bit of a boost. And even though this is the general inventory and there is a technology slot, you don't have to put your upgrades in the tech slot. It's essentially just more slots there that you will use eventually as you get a lot of upgrades, but for the early game it doesn't really matter too much. But just note that in your general inventory, obviously you can store a bunch of materials and items, but in your tech slot, it's specifically for things that are installed. You can't just store carbon there or whatever. The materials are limited to the cargo slots and the general slots. There is at one point in the tutorial pretty early on, we're going to get your scanner. You're going to have to repair and install the scanner on your multi-tool, and if you don't know what the scanner allows you to do is pretty much scan things. Each planet has unique fauna, flora, and minerals, even though some of them may look the same from planet to planet. For each of these items that you scan, you get a little bit of units, which will obviously get you some early game currency. But the real reason that you want to just start scanning everything, especially at this point I was still on the first original planet I landed on, is because you're going to want to try to get a scanner upgrade as fast as possible. That's what I would recommend being one of sort of the first goals you give yourself outside of, you know, what the game's telling you to do tutorial stuff or mission wise. I'm not completely sure if it's guaranteed. I don't think it is, but I got lucky enough that in the actual system that I spawned in, so right when I repaired my ship, you can, you know, fly off the planet and go to the space station, and in the space station there's going to be a merchant that sells upgrades for your multi-tool, which I'll show him here. And my merchant happened to have the S-Class scanner upgrade, which S-Class is the top tier. You can't get any better than that. It's the highest rarity, but it's also the most expensive, and you're going to need nanites to buy this. So the reason I'm telling you to scan everything is because you can actually upload your discoveries. You can scan the individual planets, and then once you land on said planets, you can scan all the individual minerals, flowers, and plants and animals. And with this being a procedurally generated game, anything that you discover you can actually name if you want to. And when you upload these items into pretty much this universal save, puts it in the database for other players to be able to see, pretty much. Even if they don't go to your planet, you get some nanites. And the scanning way not only gets you the units, which is the normal currency, which you have to use to actually buy, you know, new ships, materials if you need them, and things like that. The nanites are there kind of a form of a more premium currency, which its main purpose is to buy the upgrades, or whether it be your suit or whatever. But right now we're talking specifically about the scanner upgrade. And another quick tip while you're here in the space station already, at this little kiosk or whatever you want to call it over here is actually where you customize your character. It's free, you don't have to do anything. There are like certain unlockables you could buy later on, but there's quite a bit of customization just off rip. So, you know, if you want to spend a little bit of time doing that, you can. It just isn't really blatantly obvious that this is something interactable, especially for new players, so I just wanted to point that out. Also, at every space station, the exosuit merchant will actually sell you a storage slot that you can buy to increase your capacity, and you can either add it to the cargo of the tech or your general storage, which the cargo is going to be the most expensive one because it holds the most, and I think technology and general are the same, but as the more slots you put into it, the more expensive it's going to be. But it's just important to know that every system you go to, you can always buy another slot, which you're definitely going to need just as you progress through the game. You're going to be running out of storage quite a bit. So every new system you go to the space station and buy this storage slot from this guy. So now that you've been scanning a bunch of stuff and you have enough nanites, you want to go back to that space station and buy that S-Class scanner upgrade that hopefully you found. Again, your system may not have it, your system's merchant. So, in my opinion, I would just save those nanites and move on to the next system whenever you're done with, you know, whatever mission you have to do. You're going to be moving through systems anyway, just through playing the game. And what I like to do whenever I get to a brand new system, I always just go check the space station and check all the merchants for any upgrades I would need. So, again, if you're going for this, just go to the multi-tool merchant and look for that S-Class upgrade, because that's going to give you the most benefit. But essentially, what this scanner upgrade does is it nets you a lot more nanites just for scanning of the animals and the plants. You don't really get any extra for the minerals themselves, but for plants and for animals you get a ton more than you would without this upgrade. So that's a really good way to just make some quick and easy early game nanites. If you're at this point in the game, you're obviously a new player, or you're just on a new save, so you're going to be going to a bunch of different systems, a bunch of different planets, scanning a bunch of stuff anyway. So if you go ahead and get this upgrade really early on, you're just going to be making a ton more nanites and a ton more money just from doing all that basic stuff. Alright, so those are just some quick and early game tips and tricks there. Again, this is for people who are just starting out in the game, or just you don't know a lot about the game. So if you have been playing the game for a while or are already familiar with the game, then these probably aren't super helpful. You probably already know all these, but I just want to put this out there for those new players, since it seems like the player base for this game is just growing and growing. as each update comes out, which is really cool. If there's anything that was maybe confusing in the tips, then I'll also leave a comment and I can try to help you out there. And like I said in the beginning, I'm doing all of this live on Twitch, the playthrough. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and follow over there. It's linked down in the description. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.